Discussions of the border in Texas dominate political conversation and concern. Although the importance of acting on border security issues can be undermined when utilized as a means to gain political support, it is something that affects the daily lives of many Texans and, of course, of immigrants. In fact, Governor Abbott declared a state of disaster regarding immigration in Texas. A largely affected and vulnerable population absent from much of the political dialogue surrounding border security are victims of sex trafficking. Children and women seeking asylum at the border, especially illegally, are extremely susceptible to trafficking, as they are virtually unaccounted for if they have not formally requested asylum with the United States. According to the Texas Tribune, in 2021, 180,000 illegal entrances at the border were stopped and reported by Border Patrol Services by May, the highest number in 2 decades. With this sharp increase in people attempting to enter the United States, even legally through asylum seeking, counties in Texas are unable to adequately handle these numbers. Texas lacks the resources for shelter and transportation of legal asylum seekers in places such as Valverde County, a county with a major border entry site. Combine that with illegal asylum seekers, and this creates, as the director of the governor's sex trafficking prevention team coined, the perfect storm of vulnerability for human trafficking, especially since large numbers of children come to the border unaccompanied by an adult, as well as large numbers of single young women under the false pretenses of work and a better life in the United States. The impact of trafficking is apparent even in San Antonio, a city hundreds of miles away from border entry sites. The Stop Human Trafficking Task Force in Bexar County has received federal support in fighting against human trafficking. Mayor Nirenberg stated earlier this year that according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, 25% of human trafficking victims are found in Texas. With tens of thousands of human trafficking victims, San Antonio has proven to be a primary hub for sex trafficking in Texas in the last 3 years. It is clear our community must focus on identifying the victims of human trafficking. In and around the UTSA campus and the La Cantera area, there have been numerous personal encounters and accounts by acquaintances of interactions that showed telltale signs of trafficking ruses, highlighting the reality of the significant fear of victimization for this atrocious crime, even by UTSA students. To increase the personal safety of Texans and immigrants, the border crisis must be addressed, with the top priority being security and protection of the vulnerable within Texas and attempting to enter the United States. My solution to the border security issue is to combine an increased law enforcement approach coupled with humanitarian services in order to identify and protect victims and potential victims of sex trafficking, as well as identify and prosecute traffickers. In order for this to realistically occur, the border between Texas and Mexico should not allow for any easily accessible points of entry for traffickers and smugglers to fly under the radar. A clear wall, as started in Trump's presidency and continued through Governor Abbott's state endeavors, will assist in increasing the difficulty of smuggling humans through the Texas border. To address the issue of children and women attempting to enter the United States becoming victims of human trafficking, it is vital to improve the process of asylum seeking and improve asylum facilities. If Texas is unequipped to handle a certain number of immigrants pending processing in its facilities, there must be clear numerical limits through a clear process in order to protect everyone involved and to provide those seeking asylum or citizenship in the United States with the opportunity to pursue a life here. Possible criticism to this is that a wall or a fence keeps asylum seekers out of Texas, leading to less protection for potential victims of trafficking. However, I would argue that clearer policy processes that provide for a more organized and adequately equipped area for immigrants waiting for processing at the border should decrease the amount of trafficking, as women and children, as well as families, will clearly recognize if they can immigrate through the Texas border and how to do this legally with the protection and support of the Texas Border Services and government. This will also prevent traffickers from easily preying on immigrants and illegal border crossings around unofficial border entry sites.